I used to think that my father hates me because I'm a big kid. And I hated dieting and I hated workout. I just hated living. If you are not thin and if you don't look a certain size, you are going to have the worst time finding a man for yourself. Nobody wants to marry a big girl or fat girl. And that became a huge issue.
I've been a Miss India and I know what it takes to make a mark. It's a competitive world out there.
There was no social media to tell you you're beautiful just the way you are. That concept did not exist 10 years back. It's because of the power of digital media that parents are even aware of the term body shaming or body positivity. When I come out and do my shows, suddenly from a very silent show, it just becomes a very active show where everybody is applauding because Sakshi's walked out.
Welcome to another episode of Beauty Banter. I'm actually thrilled to have you with us. I want to know a little bit about you. I want to know where you grew up. I want to know I'm interested to know your upbringing. Because in this day and age, and I'm going to be quite blunt because I come from a fashion industry. I was modeling for about 12 years and I've been a Miss India. And I know what it takes to make a mark. It's a competitive world out there. And you have to look the part.
Right.
And you have to feel the part and make it part of your life. And unfortunately, or fortunately, it's the audience that determines what they like.
Correct.
And the world has changed today. But there is also one more aspect to this, which is about the upbringing. So I want to first know your upbringing and your parents. What were they like?
I grew up in Delhi, a very traditional, modern Punjabi household. I'm not Sindhi. A lot of people think because of Sindhani,
I thought you're Sindhi.
But I'm a Punjabi, a very proud Punjabi. And, my upbringing was like a standard Punjabi household. They let you be. And my father was very strict. My mother as well, but my father was particularly very strict. And he did not, I'm going to be very honest, and he did not like the fact that I was a big kid. I mean, yeah, when you're 8 or 9 years old, a chubby kid is all, you're told,
cute.
Oh, so cute, you're beautiful. And I thought being chubby is a good thing. But when I was growing older and older, I just realized that became a pain point. And I had the worst kind of a relationship. And people can't imagine it because they think that my relationship with my father, the way it is now, it's always been like that. But no, we were not in talking terms for, many formative years. I had no relationship with him because I used to think that my father hates me because I'm a big kid. And I was getting severely bullied in school. I thought everybody hated me. My sister was this beautiful, thin, perfect girl. And I was constantly compared. So I thought I'm definitely worthless.
That's tough.
And imagine, I was a little kid, and in order to stop me from eating, they would keep this journal. And I found this journal when my mother had written that today Sakshi had a packet of Maggie. And she's like, I'm going to show it to dad. And I had that fear in me set like there were dragons spitting fire in my body. Like that's what it felt like. It was just the worst kind of torture. And I could not imagine that was my life. I think that was the end of it. If I don't become pretty and thin, and I hated dieting and I hated workout. I think what was the point of it? Like I just hated living. And little did my parents know that I would spend hours and hours on end in my washroom on the floor just sobbing and crying. That was my life for very formative years. I was in school and I snuck around.
Don't mean to interject, but I would have thought the other way.
Yeah.
I would have thought that it's the parents that instill that kind of confidence in you.
How?
Because no, the parents, no matter what, whoever you are, you're ours. Whatever you are, you're ours.
Yeah, but that's a new concept. That concept did not exist 10 years back. There was no social media to tell you you're beautiful just the way you are. It's because of us. It's because of the power of digital media that now parents are even aware of the term body shaming or body positivity. When did these terms exist? Either you were conscious enough to be liberated in your thoughts like maybe your parents were or your household was. But most traditional families, they were, if you are not thin and if you don't look a certain size, you are going to have the worst time finding a man for yourself. And that became a huge issue. Who will marry you? Nobody wants to marry a big girl, a fat girl. That was the whole point.
So it was a very typical Punjabi family.
Yeah.
Where you had to look the part.
Yeah. Until I lost weight because I had the worst kind of dengue and then I lost all that weight, became really thin, went back to school, completely transformed. And imagine the principal calling me to the office, and I'm scared because why would the principal call you to the office?
Yeah.
She called me to ask me, how did you lose all that weight? Imagine being so celebrated from seeing no celebration about you whatsoever, or there's no acknowledgement of your existence in school, and all the boys are looking at you, and everybody's giving you attention, and everybody, wow, you're looking amazing. Imagine what that
how
would
did
do.
your sister react? Happy?
Everybody at home was happy
Yeah.
that I've lost the weight. It's not the happiness at home, it's more to do with,
The society.
I mean, they were too happy, and I almost felt like, okay, but like Sakshi 3 months back was completely unworthy, and Sakshi 3 months later has become so worthy.
Right.
Because of what? Because I've lost a couple of kgs, and that's determined my entire existence. And that just felt so shallow to me. Not in that moment. Of course, I enjoyed the attention because I wasn't like so spiritually awake. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't have that.
But at
understanding.
at what point did you get an eating disorder or
Yeah. Like when I lost the weight, I realized, oh, people love
Me
fact
the
that-
way I am.
Yeah. Now people love me.
yeah,
Let's
stay
eat
this way?
lesser. And I just remember falling sick. I just remember for that 1 year, I kept falling sick every 15 days. And nobody at home seemed to realize what was happening. That I'm not eating, that I'm surviving on 2 spoons of rice a day.
And what was going on in your mind?
Just a lot of defeat. Today I posted about it. I wrote it in the caption that I felt like that Sakshi was defeated. She didn't even know. That little girl didn't even know. I was
How
what,
old were you
16
then?
years old? 15, 16 years
Very
old.
impressionable.
Very impressionable, very young, and very small idea of what beautiful is.
Like when you say you look back, do you feel a sense of like anger that why, why was I superficially happy, or why do the people why are they so corny? What are these things? What is all this about?
I only feel sad. I don't feel sad about people being corny. I just feel sad about me being so sad about my weight back when I was bigger. Because I wasn't even that big. Why was I so sad about being chubby? Like, why was all my attention going in studying and worrying about my weight? And never wanting to have a picture and never wanting to see myself in the mirror. Those were my battles. Like, getting crazy marks, being on the top of, like, if you're not the topper, you're a failure. If you're not winning the debate competition, you're a failure. If you're not on the top, if you're not the absolute best. And I think that idea of being very, very obsessed with the idea of perfection is also something that I'm struggling with till date. If you're not the absolute best at your job or anything that you're doing, you're not good enough. That's something that I struggle with.
But
still.
I feel that's a very wide topic because besides just weight, it's now what the pressure that social media has put on the youngsters. That, you know what, the guy has 3 Rolls Royce. What the hell am I doing with this?
Yeah.
Is this my life?
Yeah.
What am I doing? Like, it's not just, it's everything. It's your life, it's your comforts, it's your lifestyle, it's your, today I'm here, tomorrow I'm somewhere else. The chicks, the success, the look, the clothes. It's everything.
Yeah.
And it's actually reducing the person to somebody smaller and smaller and smaller, their own perception.
Correct.
And I can't blame social media.
Correct.
But you don't know who to blame because that's the way the world is going. You don't know who to blame. Is it the parents? Like there are communities in Los Angeles, for instance, who do not have social media in their areas because they don't want their children to be on social media, to see all these pressures that social media is creating. Cut back to when you were a kid, there was not much social media. So, that was society pressure. So, basically, if you look at it, and if one is a psychologist, one can think that the social media is made out of the perfections of what the society expects.
Yeah.
Where it's coming from.
Depends on the kind of content you're also consuming, right?
Yeah. But there are
that's-
not many people who are making content like you. There's still few and far between,
Yeah.
who are able to get that hurrah, that feeling of, wow, she's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's not only, wow, she's amazing, but also that, if she can do it, so can I.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that having been a model myself and being in that industry where there was a size 0 and that existed for a long time till the big boobs came in.
Yeah.
When the big boobs came in, then it stopped. That very skinny look went away. But I went through that very skinny time as well, when it was all about minimalism. And the skinnier you are, the better you look and the better you feel. And then any clothes look right on you because you're so skinny. I worked with girls who would not eat. And it's not that they didn't want to eat.
They were
And
forced
then-
not to. And were you forced?
No,
At
I
any
was
point?
I was sort of blessed with a decent metabolism that burned, but I was careful because I was a model, so I couldn't have any. The life wasn't like that. You couldn't be on the ramp not looking the part.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
people expected it. A lot of the audience came only to see the models at that time. There were few models in Bombay and a few models in Delhi. That sort of, now of course there are hundreds of models. Like somebody like you today who's beautiful. The beauty hasn't been deterred by your plus size. And people love you and they want to see more of you because it's a fulfilling thought that, you can be yourself
Yeah.
and be accepted
Be accepted.
and be out there, in the limelight where so many people want to be. But they don't have to be. But at least they are not put on the side and, like written off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not being written off is a big thing. It's a big thing.
That was my fight. That's the point of my whole existence on social media. I don't want to disappear because I look like a certain somebody that you're not comfortable with. I don't care what people see or the society sees. I know my place in fashion. I know how much I love designer wear. I know how much I love fashion and I love magazines and I love Anna Wintour and I love all the big names and I love seeing ramp shows. And I love being on ramp. It's my most holy place. You should see me backstage. If you were to ever see my face, I'm beaming with positivity. And every single time I get to be on the ramp, I ask for so much blessing and I'm so grateful. There's so much gratitude in me. It's my place. I know I belong there. And when I come out and do my shows and I work for designers like a Manish Malhotra and a Gaurav Gupta and an Abu Jani that I worked for recently, I know how people are feeling. People are smiling, looking at me. Suddenly, from a very silent show, it just becomes a very active show where
Yeah.
everybody is applauding because Sakshi's walked out. And what is Sakshi? Maybe not the person. It's what I represent. I'm
Yeah.
representing a much bigger thought.
Yeah.
And that's what they're obsessed with.
No, but it's also Sakshi, let me tell you, because of your nature, your magnanimity, your approach, where people can sort of, you have that very, I can't call it friendly, it's too light a word, but very attractive smile. People are attracted to that smile. I'm sure you've been told that a lot.
Yes, touch wood on that.
And brimming with confidence. People love confident people.
Yeah, that's the hack.
Yeah.
You said it.
Yeah.
People love confident people.
Yeah, they love confident people, and they love confidence that spills out from things that otherwise people are underconfident about.
Correct.
And I love the people that are confident about the things that the rest of the world is not confident about. And you are that. And I am really, truly in my heart so damn proud of you. Really.
Thank you.
Honestly.
Thank you.
At what point did you like come out of it? Like feeling low, feeling judged?
Yeah, yeah.
At what point did you say this is it?
There wasn't a particular point, but I do remember when I started on YouTube. I started with YouTube back maybe 6-7 years back. I wasn't truly successful at it, but I started it because I was obsessed with watching YouTube videos, and I wanted to express myself. And I've always been a storyteller. Yes, I'm a content creator, and yes, I'm a model. But in my heart, every single video that I produce is from a storytelling point of view.
Are you a mother?
No.
Your
6
kids are
months.
going to enjoy you.
I love, and I have
Because kids love to hear stories.
2 nephews, 1 niece. I'm a Masi.
Okay,
Massive,
good. Lovely.
full.
Lovely.
But yeah, I love telling a story through my content, and that's why I started YouTube. And I was not a very confident person even then, but it's because of strangers, because people in my life were completely useless at this point. They were not giving me any confidence or any acceptance. Strangers on the internet who were giving me. I can hear some laughs in the background. I love it.
But tell me, at what point, like how old were you when you started making?
Early 20s,
Yeah.
and strangers on the internet give me a lot of love, and I'm like, oh my god, I wasn't even trying to be this, but okay, they've given me this title, and I thought that's so much responsibility, but I never felt pressurized by it. Okay, you've given me this responsibility, somebody had to become a face for it, I will become the face for it. Not intentionally, and not in a cocky way. Like, I wanted to show that I could do this to myself more than anybody else. And then it just sort of happened to me as opposed to anything else. I randomly was there at the right moment, at the right time, for Reena Dhaka. She was doing a show, and I was there for the auditions. And then she randomly asked me, walk the ramp. And I'm like, I'm not here for it. I'm here as media. You want me to model? Okay, I'll model. She made me the showstopper of a show. I didn't even know what a showstopper meant. I opened and I showstopped a show. That's my first show I've ever done. And then there were the first inclusive auditions that happened for Lakme Fashion Week. That time it was Lotus Fashion Week, and I did all of these shows. They put me on the cover of Harper's Bazaar. I was in Vogue. I did all of the magazines.
Amazing.
In a matter of you could say like 6 months before COVID properly hit. BBC World was covering me. BBC India was like, there were so many opportunities that were coming my way. I couldn't even understand it. And I honestly feel I believe a lot in destiny. I think what is meant for you comes to you as long as you prepare. And I truly think everything that I've done in my life, being super obsessed with all the extra co-curricular activities, being very out there, wanting to learn new things, new skills, everything that I've done led me to be prepared for this opportunity that came my way.
Right.
And then I was ready, and then COVID hit, and the world was on a standstill. And I was like, oh my god, my life is amazing, but now everything is over.
Yeah.
So I could have easily gone into my shell, not done anything, and that would have been fine. But no, I thought social media is my place. I'm going to create a video every single day for the next 365 days. I gave myself that challenge. Not because anybody was paying me to. I was not earning out of it. Everybody was on a standstill. But
And
because I wanted to.
what was the content largely?
It was fashion, it was styling, and it was making people feel good about themselves. And that's where I got majority of my audience. And that's why my community is so strong. everywhere I go, people just cry looking at me. They would be in a normal state. They would just be having the time of their life, eating a meal, and they would see me and they'd stop sobbing. Because I connected with them in a way that they can't understand.
Yeah.
I can't understand. But they saw a big sister in me, and that's why they support.
How's your daddy? How did he react?
Um,
And at what point did he sort of
Oh,
back
he's
off?
so proud of me. He is so proud of me, and I'm so proud of him because he changed.
At what
And he
point?
adapted.
At what point?
Not a point through the years,
Yeah.
no specific instance, but he became very pro me
What?
and supporting me and making sure that I wasn't treated a girl who can't pave her way through business. He trusted me massively, and he's a businessman, and he knew that I was a business girl. He just knew it. So he's been really, really supportive. I have a great relationship with my parents. I'm borderline obsessed with them, and they are with me.
And you live close by.
And I live close by, yeah.
So you started creating content and you felt that it was making a difference. And life's just gone on like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And you were last year in the 30 most influential.
30 under 30, Forbes.
Yeah.
Big goal, dream manifestation, biggest manifestation.
It's huge.
It was my only goal. When I started, I didn't have too many goals per se because it felt like destiny has a plan for me, let it be.
Yeah.
But Forbes is one thing that I manifested. Every interview, every panel that I gave, I would just slightly hint, can't wait for my Forbes. And they put me in some articles before they put me in the 30 under 30 list. And I would just always slightly comment on it. I said, I'm waiting for that Forbes. If you think, I would just like slightly put it out there. And then randomly, I was really sad that particular day. I still remember. We were supposed to, me and my then boyfriend, now husband, were supposed to leave for a trip. That trip got cancelled. I was crying, I was sobbing. And I got this call and I read the name of the person in Forbes on my phone and I knew what it was. And my whole being just like a,
It was meant to be.
like I didn't even pick up the call and I knew that's what she's calling me about.
That was a big moment.
That was a big moment.
Yeah.
And I cannot imagine. And then they decided to put me on they put me on the list, but they decided to put me on the cover of the magazine. That's got to be something. And then for that month, every airport that I've, not just that month, that cover stayed on for a substantial time. I would go to the airport and I would just keep telling people, that's me in the magazine, that's me. And it was the proudest moment of my life.
Sweet. And tell me, do you ever feel sometimes that let me just become like one of the others?
No. I am amazing the way I am. Why would I want to change?
I don't know. Sometimes thoughts come in. Sometimes there's a mind that comes and tells you that let me just try a new lifestyle. It happens. And, so, or you feel that maybe I want to fit that role today, coming on.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Yeah.
Or do you just feel that, like this is me and anything that comes my way has to fit me?
No, I am not arrogant about changing in life. I am very quick to adapt to new things and I do understand the nature of the job, and specifically on social media, you have to reinvent yourself.
Otherwise, you become dull.
Otherwise, there is a very high chance that audience will not enjoy you or not be entertained by you. And audience's favorite term is become irrelevant.
Yeah, irrelevant.
But I don't particularly reckon with that word because I do think that people, okay, this might sound again, I mean to say it from a very authentic, very humble side,
Yeah.
where I say legends can never become irrelevant.
Yeah.
If you have a goal and if you have a wish, and I want to, and my wish is to not have inclusivity as just like a trending conversation. It
Yeah.
needs to be a permanent change in the industry. I
Or
want
a
to change.
lucrative.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's I mean, like when you are you yourself, then you are enjoying everything that goes with it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not about a trend, or it's not about how much money you're making doing this. You know, it's just who you are
Yeah.
today, and you're just going on that path.
Correct.
And has there been any times which have been very challenging?
So many times where the challenges, but you know, every job has a challenge.
Yeah.
And without the challenges, this industry would become really boring.
Yeah.
And I do think that challenges can come and go. Honestly, that's not my concern. The only thing is that people should not forget that these body types exist. People like me exist.
And in your world, in your environment, have you seen many
Many what?
many different body types now
Yes.
emerging?
Yes, absolutely.
But who would you say that that is making that kind of a mark?
So many people, there are so many mid-sized bodies, there are so many plus-sized bodies, there are transgenders, there are acid attack victims who now models, like legit, they're petite models. There are yeah, there's so many, and I love that. And I love models with different skin tones as well. People are really appreciating darker skin tones and
Yeah.
celebrating it.
Yeah.
It's not just about body types, it's also about you know, your overall personality. I know that a lot of models are being casted because they have different hair, like super curly hair that makes them different, or a personality,
Yeah.
or lots of tattoos on their
Yeah.
bodies. Things that were, you know, told that okay, that doesn't make you pretty, or that doesn't put you in the model criteria
Right.
category,
Right.
are now celebrated and asked for, really.
But
So-
I think in our country, the main challenges, of course, have always been time immemorial, has been fair skin
Mhm.
and
Size 4,
size 4, size 6, pretty
Bodies.
much. Yeah. And that has been a big, for girls who are suffering. I see the girls are suffering,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, I mean, the marriage market is complex. There are brokers. You have to hear the brokers,
Yeah.
you know, कि गोरी होनी चाहिए.
Hmm.
Or sometimes, you know, when you are applauded with your content, you should also ask the people who are applauding you that would you accept a bride who is dark skinned, or would you accept a bride who's a plus size if you're not a plus size, you know?
Yeah.
So it's one thing about applauding, it's another thing about accepting as to be with you. And I feel that there is a lot of hypocrisy still happening in society, because there are a lot of these, it's the trend to accept.
Yeah, they do it for the pictures and
They
then
do
it's
it for
over.
the pictures, and they do it because they should do it.
Yeah.
Would you be with a girl who is a plus size? Would you be with her? Would you date her? You know, the same people on my team who are telling me this.
Yeah.
So it's another thing to actually accept.
No, I love where this is going, and I personally have had many conversations with really all the designers that
Yeah.
I've worked with
Yeah.
to ensure that that's what their head is at. Like, for example, I remember this really incredible conversation that I ended up having with Manish as well as Falguni, where both of them have done my wedding, and I have worked with them, walked for them before. And I just remember the way they approached dressing me was not stereotypical. It was very open. And I realized then that it's not just me whom they're doing it for. It's now become their mentality. They want to celebrate bigger body types. They want to make good clothes for women of different body types and celebrate it, not hide it.
Yeah.
Of course, ultimately the bride has to make that call. If a bride requests something, then the designers are going to
Of course.
But if you're open, like for
yeah.
example, I was open, and I just remember like Manish telling me, no, make that neckline nice and beautiful and accentuated. I need that big back opening, like you and that beautiful coral bright. Like I don't want you to be in a dull color. Show your personality.
Exactly. What does beauty in everything mean to you?
Beauty in everything means really everything to me. I see world very different. I don't take the world too seriously, and I don't take myself that seriously. I find beauty in everything and everybody. I can have a conversation with anybody and everybody, and I don't judge people. I might have an opinion about people, but I won't judge them. I understand, and I watch people with empathy, and I listen to them. So I think that's also a big superpower that I have.
Tell me, what do you define as health?
Physical fitness and mental fitness. You have to take care of your mental well-being. It's very, very important, as
Right.
important as taking care of your physical being. And regardless of your body type, you should not use being sedentary and being lazy and being not working out as an excuse. Body positivity does not stand for that. I do not stand for that.
And healthy skin?
Yes, that's very important. Healthy skin for me is a big one. I love skincare more than I love makeup, honestly. So for me, skincare, I would never sleep with makeup on. Even if I'm passed out, drunk, had a 16-hour shoot day, no. I would never sleep with makeup on. And I think skincare is something that people and youngsters should pay a lot more focus on.
Right. And what's your routine?
My routine, it's double cleansing always. It's lots of moisturizers and sunscreens packed onto one another before makeup, and also before you sleep, always a sleeping mask. Never forget your eye cream. Yeah, those are two things. I started using eye cream when I was 20 years old. A lot of people don't.
Yeah. That's great. And sunscreen?
Never ever, even if it's a rainy day, never leaving my house without it.
Yeah. See, that's the thing that people don't understand how important it is. So you do connect mental well-being with feeling beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. Um, on the days when I'm mentally not okay, I definitely struggle with seeing myself in the mirror, because then I pick on myself and I pick on my imperfections per se. Um, and that's just the human in me.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that I don't love myself and there's no self love and there's no development there.
And what is self-love to you?
Self love to me is not picking on yourself and not picking on your body every chance you get. It's moving away from the conversations that feel like a cloud in your head. You know what I'm trying to say with that? When you struggle with taking a picture, or when you zoom in to that one picture you've taken in that family picture just to see the imperfections, or if that one pimple disrupts your day, or if dark circles make you feel like, or that wrinkle makes you feel like that's the end of the world,
Or you can't step out?
or you can't step out and you hate your clothes and you think that you have nothing to wear, and then you think fashion is the most ridiculous thing in the world, and that you hate food.
What do you want to say to the girls out there who feel all these things you just said?
I know that a lot of them feel like that, and
Yeah.
I've been there
Yeah.
and I've felt exactly those things,
Yeah.
so I can say it. But I know for a fact that nobody else is going to shut off that noise but you. The whole responsibility is on you.
And
You
what
have
do
to
you
change
say
that
to
mindset.
those people who blame everybody else because of?
No, you have to change. You have to change the aura that surrounds you, the magic that surrounds you. If you become so confident, so powerful in your own being, nobody else will have the guts to even pass on judgments or remarks or opinions about how you look. If you have that protective layer around you,
Right.
that's the end of it.
Tell me one thing, coming back to what we discussed. When do you think beauty pageants are going to accept?
I don't like the idea of beauty pageants, regardless of whether they accept. I've been called on um, inclusive beauty pageants many times. I mean, it's not that I don't like.
They
I just
exist.
they exist, and just the idea of celebrating you basis of on how you look, whether it's even if it's inclusive, it's still not going to be inclusive, right? Like the prettiest out of the fat girl is going to be picked. I don't know. I don't reckon with it. I don't understand the concept. I never have. I've never watched beauty pageants. I've never indulged in them. So for me, it doesn't exist.
You know, you forget about people. You are making me think, because I have been such like I had such strict sort of a regimen in certain things, coming from where I've been as a young teenager, started modeling and then became Miss India. And, in Miss India, and when you go to international pageants, you have a round where you have to wear a swimsuit, and the girls all walk out in swimsuits, and that is really about the body,
Yeah.
and it still exists.
Yeah.
The swimsuit round. It's
Yeah.
a big round where you have to just be that perfect measurement.
Correct.
And people do all kinds of surgeries. It's not that they are born with that. Let me tell you that. My time, people were not, because there was not so much perfection in surgeries. Today, there's so much, like the surgeons are like laughing to the bank, because girls want a perfect nose. The smaller the nose, the better. It takes a lot for a girl to say, I love my nose the way it is, if it's a large nose. It's
like
true.
my nose.
And I really, I'm sure you do that a lot. Speak to the younger girls.
Yeah.
And create content that makes them feel good about themselves, no matter what they are.
Correct.
And I look to you to do that more and more and more, because I see the young girls, I know the young generation, I know the pressures on them, and the young boys,
Correct.
who
can't forget.
who are trying to become like some billionaires, that it's crazy.
Pressure is with every gender, honestly. So going under surgeries and getting fillers and botox and all of those things is such a personal choice that I would not like to comment on it. I would just like to say that do it for the right reasons, not because you
Do it for
feel-
yourself.
do it for your
Yeah.
not
Do it for yourself.
not because you want to fit into a
What somebody expects
mold.
of you. Somebody expects
know?
of you. And tell those brokers, those marriage brokers, and the people out there, the large Indian community who's looking for a certain, like this perfect bahu. Tell
I
them,
recently
create
did a
that
video on this.
content, sweetheart.
I did. I recently did a video on matrimonials and how they should be mothermonials with the brand. I love that concept that, I feel like matrimonials, the way that you say that this is the height that you need, this is the skin color, that you should write matrimonials through the eyes of a mother, make them mothermonials. A mother would never describe their child as this fair or this. They would describe the qualities that make that person.
But
Incredible.
but do you are probably too young, but there used to be a matrimonial column in all the newspapers. I don't know if it still exists, but the matrimonial columns used to have, and I used to read it for entertainment, like beautiful, fair complexion, 5 feet, whatever the tall, 5 feet, whatever, looking for a man,
A well-settled
a
man.
well-settled man, sometimes even like 5 figures, and a professional, a doctor, lawyer, whatever it is. And only those need apply. And a man looking for fair complexion, beautiful,
Yeah.
with no degree needed, or basically fair complexion and beautiful.
It still exists.
It still exists.
It's
And
really
that's
sad.
that is the change that you will make.
Next part, next war,
Yeah.
and we shall win that battle.
Okay, so I know you have to go, so I'm going to be very quick because we have a rapid fire. What's the one fashion trend you hope never comes back?
Low waist jeans.
Why? Quickly.
Why would you bring them back? Period. There's no answer to it. Why would you bring them back?
It's the hippie trend.
No, it's the least inclusive trend in the world.
Okay, lovely. One rumor you wish people would stop believing about you.
That I come from a rich family. I'm a rich girl. Not because rich in so many other ways than just monetary.
Fantastic. Heels or flats?
Both. Cannot choose.
Favorite way to unwind after a busy day?
Netflix, food, and my dog. And my husband. And my husband. Yeah.
Very quickly about your husband.
Mhm.
How long have you been seeing him?
13 years. Married for 6 months.
And has he been a big influence in your life?
Massive. Best friend.
How wonderful. And is he in business or?
Yeah. Very different, very real business, very factory, manufacturing, lots of labor that he works with.
Oh.
So very different side of the world that he lives in.
Yeah.
But together we are Chandler and Monica. from
Fantastic.
Friends. Yeah.
So kids very soon.
No. I mean, never say never, but very
But
soon ka kya matlab?
motherhood attracts you? No, because 13
Motherhood
years.
really- no, but really
13
attracts
years
me.
when you've been with somebody that it's not like you are discovering a person.
Yeah. Motherhood, no, but you're right. Motherhood really, I want to have so many children. Not so many, but 2 beautiful children.
Which has been your favorite fashion show you walked for?
I cannot choose.
Yeah.
I cannot choose. But I would say recently, I really enjoyed walking for Abujani because of the Sindoor moment that I had. This was the first show I had done, first couture show I had done after the wedding. And the fact that I came out wearing a big Sindoor in a red sari was
Beautiful.
iconic.
And this was the FDCI,
Yeah.
an overrated beauty trend.
This 7-step skincare routine. I don't think you need those many steps. I have 3 and I have touchwood good skin.
What's the most outrageous request you've ever received from a brand?
Many every day. I cannot name the brand and I cannot disclose the
But like something
expectations.
outrageous, was outrageous sort of a request.
It's to when some brands try to take away my authenticity and my voice. That's just outrageous to me. You've selected me for a reason for who I am on
Yeah.
social media and for my authenticity.
Yeah.
Stick with that. And if you can't, then we can't work.
Yeah. Most iconic and most embarrassing fashion moment.
Most iconic moment has to be when I worked for Gaurav Gupta for this really like a planetarium situation show. I felt that was such an iconic show because I looked completely different. I think I had no eyebrows or some makeup look that made me look very bare and very different. I didn't look like myself at all. Another iconic moment was that my heel broke during Siddhartha Titler's show.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I had a broken heel and I had to walk and
So what did you do?
I
Remove the
walked.
shoes?
Nothing. I walked in a broken heel. I tiptoed. And I had such a spectacle. You could not even tell. I honestly, I didn't even realize it and people were just like, oh, heel is broken. I could hear it on the side of the ramp.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I felt that was iconic because, right after I exited from the ramp, I threw my heel and said, my heel is broken. So what? And then I went on to Lakshmi. I said, Lakshmi, I've become a real model now. My heel has broken on the ramp for the first time. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Embarrassing. I've had many embarrassing moments. I will
On the
continue.
ramp?
No, not on the ramp, but embarrassing fashion moments, and I will continue to have them.
One word to describe your life's journey.
Unpredictable.
Nice word. If not a model and an influencer, what would you be?
A genetic engineer. I would have gone into science. I love biology and I love
Really?
all things genetics.
So you were an academic person.
Mm-hmm.
Your favorite beauty product that you use? I don't mean the brand, I mean the product.
A lip balm. Cannot stay without it. And sunscreen equally.
Fabulous. So Sakshi, it was besides the fact that you were on the podcast, on Beauty Banter, and enjoyed you every bit of talking to you.
Thank you.
I'm really happy that I met you.
I'm really happy that I met you.
And I'm really happy that we had a conversation that just flowed. And do keep in touch, because I'd love to, I'm going to watch you on Instagram and see the content you're making. And I'll send you some opinions of mine, having lived a life of
Definitely.
quite a lot of controversy and been there.
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that, but in different ways. I love the fact that you are yourself, and don't let anything change that, because you will have circumstances in your life and experiences in your life where circumstances can change you. So always keep coming back to your core, because I think your core is beautiful, and don't ever forget that.
Thank you.
Thank you.